Hey there, guys. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you. Something a little different today. I don't usually piggyback off of another content creator's work, but I just there's one content creator that I've been watching for a very long time. He's always on point. Uh, called BCP, Black Conservative Perspective, and flipping through, I mean, with the videos that I've been putting out with all the illegal immigration, what's going on, he put this video together, and it just explains what I've been saying, and I just want everybody to see how, if anybody thinks that I'm the only person putting this out, no, there's a lot of people putting this out, and he has a lot of good points, and I want to touch on some of those points also. So just pay attention, and I'll throw my 2 cents in, and I'll also leave a link to in my description box on his video. And before I forget, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Let's go. Now, as you can see, this is New York. This is what New York looks like right now.
We need leadership from President Biden, period. Democrats are looking bad right now in New York State, and that's unacceptable when we have to win at least 4 congressional seats to take back the House. So hopefully the president's listening.
Okay, now that right there, big fail. And they should have known this from when they first started. I mean, everybody, like I said in my other videos, this whole illegal immigration thing, opening up the borders, it was never meant to work. But what they were banking on was that let's send as many as we can to the red states, try to take over the red states, and then when the red states said no, we're sending them back, right away they'll call people like Governor DeSantis and Greg Abbott and stuff like that and saying, oh, you guys are a bunch of racists, you know, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're this. And now that it's hitting them in the face, it's like, okay, here you go. This is why we said we didn't want to do this. And it's not stopping all immigrants from around the world, other people from around the world coming in. There is a process, there is a way of doing it. It was working before, but you know, that's what happens when you steal an election and then you just open up the border and you just let it flood. Now, I touched on Michigan yesterday on one of my videos, and listen to what I'm sorry, not Michigan, Massachusetts. Listen to what Massachusetts is saying. They are repeating the same thing that Eric Adams said not too long ago about people in New York opening up their doors and giving these families a place to stay. Now, Massachusetts is doing the same thing. Check this out.
Your home, please consider hosting a family. Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Worker Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family.
Now, that right there, I'm just going to say it off the bat. Between Eric Adams, Massachusetts, that is the worst thing that this government, this regime, can ask anybody to do. And I'll touch on that in a bit, but let's continue.
Declare a state of emergency.
Yeah, thanks for having me. The state of emergency was declared yesterday because the shelter system in Massachusetts is at a breaking point. The kind of dual crises of, you know, the influx of migrants coming into Massachusetts seeking a better life, and the housing crisis and the, you know, reason people just can't afford to rent here has created an overburdened system.
I love how they say it's a state of emergency.
Oh boy, on this episode.
Now, this is the gentleman, Greg Foreman. Like I said, I don't usually piggyback. I think this is my first time doing it, but he has put this into perspective, and I like the title to his channel, Black Conservative Perspective. He's been touching on this for a very long time, and exactly what I've been trying to say, you know. And it's very how can I say, it's a disservice to Americans and all these illegals that this Biden regime has let in, because now they're calling it a state of emergency. They didn't care about the state of emergency at the border that a lot of states, a lot of governors, a lot of politicians have been saying it needs to stop. Only when it starts to flood the blue cities, now it's a state of emergency. Well, shit, when they sent those 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, and if Martha's Vineyard didn't want them, and that's like one of the richest spots on the planet for such a small area, if they felt they didn't have the resources, why would they think anybody else would have? And that was just for 50. If you look at the other video I made a couple of days ago, they said there's up to what, 92, 93,000 illegals in New York alone. Massachusetts claimed yesterday on my other video there was what, about 20,000. So you're looking at over 110,000, and this is, it's not that that's all they put and that's it. No, this is growing every day. Every day. As long as that border is open, as long as they're letting people in, you might as well just say it's 100,000 every single day. But I'll let Mr. Foreman here explain it a little better.
You get what you vote for, which is my favorite segment to do, because it shows people, hopefully people that are watching my channel, that voting Democrat, voting liberal, voting progressive leads to chaos, right?
I've been saying that for the longest. I mean, when I did the video, Chicago Has Fallen, you know, I came out and said it straight out. Stop voting Democrat. You know, that I had one of my viewers, you know, send me a message saying that, you know, it maybe everybody didn't vote Democrat. That you know, what I believe that maybe the election was stolen. And I replied, yes, I do believe that. But here's the thing. Even if the election was stolen, even if there was more Republican votes where they could have won it, then where were the people, the so-called Democrats that were against it? Where are they? Now they're protesting because they got the win. But they didn't know that the win was going to come at a price. And the price being, like I've always said before, the Democratic Party is evil. They will get the black and Latino vote, and once they get that and win, okay, then they'll go and throw it in their face and take more away from them. And then the end result is they start bitching and moaning. This is why I said stop voting Democrat then. You want your vote to truly count? Stop voting Democrat. You know, I hate to say it, a lot of people may not know history, but if Malcolm X said back in the 60s that to stop voting for Democrats, all these people that are all about Black Lives Matter and Black Power and, you know, putting the black, you know, people first, have you forgotten what Malcolm X stood for and what he was saying? I mean, think about that. Think about that. But here we go.
Higher consequences for voting for the extremist Democrat Party, okay? Because they are a party of extremists, okay? Almost all policy issues, they are extreme. They're extreme on crime. They're extreme on economics. They're extreme when it comes to foreign policy. They're extreme when it comes to immigration, okay? The Biden administration damn near supports open borders, right? Wide open borders, because they told the illegals, come to the United States. We can take care of you, right? And
it's true. Now, I haven't been able to find the clipping, but when Biden stole the presidency, there was a lot of video and a lot of pictures online, and I'm very surprised they're not showing it. But there was people on the other side of the border. I mean, you could see them as far as you can see with white T-shirts for Biden-Harris. It's insane. I mean, there is actual footage of these illegals talking about the apps that they get on their phone. They talk about what the new policies are Now people say, well, that's the cartels putting out that information, this, and that. Okay, this is my thing. Is it really just the cartels? Because if it's the cartels, then why haven't they shut the border? I mean, think about that. I mean, if the Biden regime knew that the cartels were doing that, then go shut down the border. But obviously they haven't, so it makes you wonder, is it really just the cartels that are doing this? No, it's not. They're being helped by the Democratic Party, Rhino Republicans, people that don't care about this country and its people. But here we go.
The woke progressives in these liberal cities, these sanctuary cities, also say, hey, come, we can take care of you, right? Thinking that these migrants would just stay in red states. Oh, you know, Texas, Arizona, Florida, they'll deal with it, right? We'll never actually really have to deal with this problem.
There you go. See, the red states. That's what I've been saying. They just want to send it. They want, their plan was, like I said, they wanted to flood the red states so like that in time they can get into their ear, tell them to vote Democrat, to flip it. The Democrats want to turn this country blue. They want it to collapse. They want it to fall in every little fucking aspect, from the drinking water to the food to locking shit down to taking away jobs. You know, you look at, and it's not just here, you look at video footage of the way the borders, the way a lot of illegals, you have a lot of people from the Middle East hitting Europe, and it's 9 out of 10, it's mostly men. And then on this side of the pond, it's mostly men again, but mostly from South America. They're trying to collapse, the powers that be, they're trying to collapse Western civilization. And just one way to do it is to bring all these men in, let them take the jobs at a lower cost on wages, and then you kill off a generation or two of who's been here already. It's like that game of Risk. You got to move your ranks in. You got to get your soldiers in. You know, if this was something where it was just women and children and a couple of men, you could say, you know what, yeah, the other men stayed behind to fight all the crime and everything that's going on in their country. But these men are coming in. They're coming in by not by the thousands, not by the tens of thousands. They're coming in by the hundreds of thousands. Okay, because we're at right now, I believe is at 5.6 million illegals that have entered this country in 3 years. 5.6 million. How much does anybody want to guess the percentage of it mostly being able-bodied men coming into this country? Well, let's continue.
All right, but we're going to virtue signal for votes, okay, by basically talking about how much we love and care about migrants. When the truth is that liberals are now some of the loudest when it comes to being anti-illegal immigration. Now that Texas, Florida, Arizona, some of these red states have decided to transport the border to the liberal cities, okay? Because now they are sending illegals to sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, blue states like Massachusetts, okay? Who, you know, have now declared a state of emergency due to the influx of migrants, okay? It's so bad in Massachusetts that the governor, okay, this is a state that overwhelmingly voted Democrat, they voted for Biden, okay, this is a Democrat state, they're now begging citizens to house the migrants, okay, to let illegals into their homes so that illegals can eventually take their jobs. Take a look.
Today, declaring a state of emergency in response to the uptick of migrants arriving in Massachusetts. The influx has pushed the shelter system to its capacity. 22 News State House reporter Ellen Fleming explains the impact being felt statewide.
The migrant crisis has now turned into a migrant emergency as the state's shelter system is being pushed to the brim to house those arriving to the Bay State. Today, Governor Maura Healey announced a state of emergency with the rising number of migrant families arriving in Massachusetts and the lack of shelter in the state. Currently, there are almost 5,600 families or over 20,000 individuals in state shelter.
Look at that. And that's growing every day. And once again, I'll say it again, here's the thing. The state of emergency was declared as soon as Biden stole the presidency and opened up that border. But once again, all these leftists, all these liberals, they thought that, you know what, it's not going to affect us. Well, guess what? It's affecting you. And you don't like it. You don't like it. Because you thought that you was going to keep your happy asses in your little happy homes, in your little happy neighborhoods, and you did your thing by being pro-illegal immigration while you close your eyes at night. You know, I did my thing today. Yeah, I voted for Biden. I'm good. Everything's great. I feel nice and fuzzy and fucking warm inside. And now because of your happy ass making that decision, now you got them strewn in the streets of New York. You got them running amok and committing crimes in Chicago. You got people, you got the mayor of New York, the governor of Massachusetts telling people, open up your doors, please, and let them into your homes. Once again, without vetting them, without knowing who they are. Criminal records, if they have them, and not knowing who they are. And like I said when I started the video, that I was going to touch on that. I think it's the worst thing that they could be asking people. There's a few reasons. Number one, you don't know who they are. Okay? A lot of these men that they're catching, a lot of them are running from child molestation conviction, rape convictions, drug convictions. A lot of them have supposedly have been set free from the prison system. But Donald Trump was talking about this 6-7 years ago when he was president. So what makes you think they're not doing it now? Okay? So who are you going to let into your house? A criminal? I'm not talking about the women and children. I'm talking about the men. Okay, that's one point people could touch on. The second point, do you know how many crooked people in this country will be jumping on the bandwagon to do that, and they're going to commit crimes against these illegal immigrants? The first one being, it will be fraud. And I'll tell you why. Because I guarantee you that the government will come up with something to start giving whoever lets these illegals stay in their homes, they're going to start giving them incentives. More taxpayer money blown away. Now, do you know how many illegals that are here that Massachusetts will not give up, that will open up their doors to more illegals while giving them a government paycheck to say, here you go, since you're fostering them, here's more money from the government. So do you see this cycle? It's a vicious cycle. It's money, 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 money. And the Democrats want to fucking say that they care? I don't think so. I don't think so, but let's continue.
This number is 80% higher than it was last year at this time.
Oh, and one more thing, not to mention the sick individuals that are out there salivating at this, that will let these illegal immigrants in. And need I say what they can do to the women and children? Think about that. Think about that. We have our own problems here, and it's been running rampant. Okay? With the child abductions, the abducting of women, the sex trafficking. Remember what they say, that is a big menu to fill. Out of all the countries in the world, America orders the most. It's sickening, it's disgusting, but it's true. And it touches off in that movie Sound of Freedom that the biggest buyers of that filth, it's in America. It's horrible, but it's true. But let's continue.
In a letter, Healy points to federal policies on immigration and work authorization, inadequate production of affordable housing, and the end of COVID-era food and housing security programs as all reasons to why the migrant emergency is only getting worse. During today's news conference, Healy stressed that expediting work authorizations is of the most importance.
You see that?
We do.
That's what I said in one of my last videos. Expediting the work authorization. Because if you give them the work authorization, that means that they stay here longer. That means that they have a pathway to become citizens instead of doing it through the right way, through coming in through the port of entry. Basically giving them a free pass. Now that you made it into the interior, okay, don't worry about it. Now you can stay. They broke the law by coming here illegally. Now you're helping them. Now you're telling them it's okay. So this woman right here needs to be voted out. Every mayor and governor in a blue state in this country needs to be voted out. And if you people living in the blue states, and I know there's probably a lot of people watching these videos and they're passing by, because I check the algorithm, and the percentage of people watching the video and staying on it and people clicking off, I know the ones that are clicking off are probably just stupid ass bleeding heart liberals and Democrats that just want nothing to do with it. But I tell you what, you keep voting for this. Do not say a fucking word or fucking bitch about it. If one of these illegals commits a crime against you and your family, do not say a fucking word. Do not say a fucking word. You wanted this. You eat it.
Need action from the federal government and the federal administration in terms of expediting work authorizations. People are anxious to work. We know there are employers around this state, across industries, who are looking for that workforce.
Yeah, they're looking for the low-wage workforce. Which means what? Which means that it'll take away from the American workforce. And what a lot of people don't understand, okay, the work that when these illegals come, most of the work that they take are blue-collar jobs. Okay? It affects the black and brown people first. I hate to say it that way. It's not a racist thing. But when they embed themselves in the neighborhoods, they're not moving into white suburbia. Like I said, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying they're not moving into upper middle class suburbia or upper class suburbia. They're not moving into those neighborhoods. They're moving into the neighborhoods where middle class and somewhat upper middle class people, black, white, brown, Spanish, whatever you want to call it, they're leaving their cars at home. They're getting on the bus. They're getting on the train to get to work. Hitting whatever construction jobs, factory jobs, whatever jobs. Now they'll come and they'll do it. I mean, shit. Supposedly, Best Buy has turned their tune about not hiring white people. They're only going to hire minorities. How many of those minorities, how many of those illegal immigrants that speak good enough English that are here illegally, how many of them are going to get those jobs? So you see how this affects everybody? But the Democrats don't give a flying fuck. They just don't. Here we go.
Our call is for federal funding, as well as work authorizations, and to that end,
there you go, federal funding. More money, federal funding. And I'm sorry for cutting it so much, but there's so many key points to this.
we will take it through any means possible.
Most importantly, if you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family.
I wonder how many of them are going to do that. I mean, she's a minority. She seems minority. I mean, everybody now in this day and age is minority. How many of these people here are going to take in a family of illegal immigrants? Not fucking one, I can guarantee.
Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Worker Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family.
Money. And I like the way she calls out the organization, the Brazilian Worker Fund. Oh, so now the Brazilians have something to say here? I mean, I work construction. Okay? And when I tell you that I walk out my door and I look up and down my neighborhood, and pretty much 9 out of the 10 people on my block alone own their own business, from landscaping to roofing, there are days I come out, okay, as of late, and at least 6 houses, their trucks are parked. You know what that tells me? We're losing work. Now I see the work when I go, when I'm driving around, going to jobs. But what I see mostly is illegals. Roofing, cutting down trees, landscaping, construction. Now, I believe that everybody deserves to eat, everybody deserves to have a good job. But now here I am, my work is slowing down. I try to be as fair as I can with my prices, but I'm being underbid by more and more and more. And you can't blame the customer, especially right now with the way Biden's fucking inflation crisis is going up. They're trying to save pennies, but they still need work done. You could thank a Democrat for that. Not a Republican. Well, I should say not a true blue Republican. The Rhino Republican, yes. But you could blame every liberal, every Democrat, all these people right here. You could blame them all. But let's continue.
If you're a local official, a college president, a business owner, or a faith leader with an available building or space in your community, please work with us to offer it as a shelter site. If you're a social service provider, please consider becoming an emergency assistance homeless shelter provider. Our resources are stretched thin there as well. And if you're a hotel or a motel owner, consider opening it up for emergency assistance. If you're a landlord or a property owner, we can use you too and connect you with service providers to help transition families into permanent housing. Everyone has something they can offer.
As of now, 43.
Now, I'm not going to play the whole video and take away my man Smoke like this. It's his video. But I just want to say this, because I've never seen it, and if anybody else has seen it, please send me a video with actual fucking proof. And as of recent, Eric Adams said the same thing. Let people in, open up your doors, this and that. We got them in hotels, we got this, we got that. This woman just finished saying the same damn thing. When was the last time anybody ever seen a commercial, a public official, especially a Democrat or liberal, saying the same thing for America's homeless vets and homeless people? I'll leave it at that. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Check out my man's channel. He's Black Conservative Perspective. Until then, as I always say, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.